Hey guys, this is Phoenix. I'm back with the third episode of my modding tutorials. In this episode, we're going to set up the main mod class. But before we do that, I'm actually going to create a list of the things that we need for base mod class, and we're going to break it up into a couple sections. So the first thing we need is the base mod class. I totally derped and need another backslash. Okay, so base mod class. We also need the um, proxies. We should probably do something along the lines of a reference class. Not a bad idea. Proxies, references, dependencies. That way, if we're building a mod that depends on something else, or even if we just don't want the mod to be used on an earlier version of Forge, this is a good way to do that. So there's that, proxies, reference class, dependencies. We should probably do a log handler. So yeah, that's basically what we're probably going to want to do at the very least to start with. So let's go ahead and get started with the base mod class. The first thing we're going to need is an annotation for mod. What this is going to do is it's going to allow us to assign a mod ID, the name, the version, dependencies, whether or not the mod is using metadata, what Minecraft version is acceptable, if the server that it's running on is an acceptable server version, what if the save is, we can set a save version, basically if in the save our version doesn't match the current version, it's going to require a world restart, and it'll tell you that. Whether or not you're using bucket plugins to work with this. The certificate fingerprint. The certificate fingerprint is literally just a string of characters that the mod checks against to make sure it hasn't been tampered with. The mod language, so the default is Java, should probably never really deal with that. And the adapter, which we don't want to deal with either. We can set it to be deactivated, and we're also going to want to use a GUI factory when we do configuration. So let's actually put that in the list here as well. And we'll also throw in an update handler. Check for updates. Okay, so underneath of here, let's go ahead and reopen that so we can see what's going on. And then there's the custom properties. We're probably not going to deal with custom properties at all. So let's start with the mod ID. So mod ID, I'm actually just going to put in what we're using here. There's the name, there's the version, there's dependencies, there is the acceptable acceptable Minecraft version. Acceptable Minecraft version. We're gonna do okay, so dependencies, acceptable Minecraft version. Let's go ahead and throw in the can be deactivated clause as well. We don't want to do anything with the GUI factory yet. We'll add that later. But can be deactivated can be set to true. This doesn't do anything at the moment, but if you ever update, the deactivation system, I believe, does work now in earlier or later versions of Minecraft. This would allow people to deactivate your mod from the mod list if they so choose. It's not a bad idea. I just throw it in there because it's nice to have. So anyway, let's go ahead and create a new folder underneath of com.ryodev.tutorial mod. We're going to create a new package for reference. And then underneath the reference, we're going to create a Java class called reference. Underneath of here, we are going to be assigning all of our variables that we are going to use for these. What? Okay, well, let me just copy the stuff I'm doing here then. And move it over here. So weird. Whoa. Nope, apparently not. Okay, whatever. Tutorial mod I left blank, name I left blank, this I kind of left blank as well. Accepted Minecraft version. Dependencies and can be deactivated is true. There we go. Base class proxies reference log helper config and update checker. Okay, so where were we? Okay, reference. Underneath of here, we don't want these to ever change, so we're just gonna do we're gonna declare them as public static. Static just allows this to be used outside of this area. Final means it can't be changed. And we're going to do all of these as strings. Equals a string. So we also need to give it a name right before the equal sign. This is going to be mod_id. For finals, I always make them all caps. That way I know that I can reference them but can't change them. But anyway, what I mean by this is if I come here right now, by static is if I come here right now and I say I want to pull from reference.modID, I can. But if I don't have this final, or if I don't have this as a static, if I just do a public, means, and then I come over here and I do the same thing, reference dot, it won't even come up. Mod_ID is going to literally ask me create field mod ID, make mod ID static. If I make mod ID static, it'll fix it over here back to static. But static means that it can be referenced inside of another class file without having to use a getter or setter. I could do a getter. So I could do like public static string get mod ID return mod ID. Okay, so that would be a getter, and then I could have this not be static anymore. And then under here I could actually call it, so normally. Whatever. You get the idea. But public static final mod ID. And I'll just call mod ID here. Mod ID. And it's the same thing for here. I want to create a reference dot mod_name, and we'll not deal with crap. Okay. We'll just copy this and bring it down to here, and we'll name it mod name. And we can copy this again, bring it down. This is basically a reference class. This makes it easier for you to reference your mod ID and your name and stuff throughout your mod without actually having to do anything. There's several different ways to actually declare these. If you don't want to type out public final static string every time, you can actually just, instead of a semicolon, put a comma here and then not use any of this, and it'll actually initialize the mod name as long as you put string. Mod name is already defined in the scope. Okay, right there. So basically, it could just do this mod underscore version equals, yeah, and it'll just go through that and it'll use them. So I could then come here and reference dot mod version. This is just shorthanding it if you wanted to do it that way. I like seeing everything, so I usually have this done several times, and I can paste that, and there's that, put a semicolon there, and then there's mod dependencies, mod underscore dependencies. I can copy this one again, and we'll call this one MC version. And here we're going to put 1.7.10 mod version. We're going to do as 0.0.1 mod name tutorial mod. Mod ID should always have never have a space in it. Otherwise, it kind of gets finicky. And then we can come back over here to tutorial mod, and underneath the accepted Minecraft version, we can do MC reference.mc version, and dependencies we can do reference.mc dependencies. Okay, so that's the first part. I also forgot to include instance up here. Whatever, we're going to do that right now. Anyway, so we want to call another annotation at instance right here, and we're going to say public static, and we're going to call our class. So we're going to call tutorial mod. Tutorial mod instance equals new tutorial mod. And now we have an instance set up. The next thing we should probably do is set up the event handlers. The event handlers are what happens pre-initialization when the mod first starts as it's loading. Then there's the initialization stage, what happens after the game is loaded, and the post-initialization, or while the game is loading. And then there's post-initialization, which is anything that happens after the game has already loaded. So what we need to do for that is do an event handler. If I can type, event handler, and we're going to do a public static void init. And we're going to call inside of the parentheses, we're going to call for an FML initialization event, and we're going to name that event. And then we open these and we have that. And then we also need to have another one before this, which is the other event handler. Event handler, we're going to do a public static void pre-init, and we're going to call for the FML pre-initialization event. And if after the init event, we're going to go do another at event handler. We're going to call for a public static void post init. And we're going to call for fml post initialization event. And there. So with this, our base mod class is actually complete. We don't actually have to do anything beyond that. So that's gone. We also have a reference, so that's gone. In the next episode, which is going to be ridiculously short, we're going to set up the proxies, the log helper, or we'll probably do the log helper in its own episode. So the next one is actually going to be proxies. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.